Good evening. Today's question is, what does leadership mean in a highly polarized truth era? When I think of leadership, I think of the president. The president has the most power in the United States to get things done. Today's president is Donald Trump. Donald Trump's views might not be adequate to other views that other people have. But when I think of being a leader, I think of you need to understand where people came from and how people actually live in the United States, not just the 1% of the wealthiest people in the world. Personal identities theory really got my attention because it includes components of self that are primarily interpersonal and connected to our lives and experiences. I think if you want to be a good leader, you have to understand where people come from and how they're going to act to different things. For example, back in high school, I was the leader of the football team. I understood that not every football player was invested as I was, because I personally wanted to go to college, wanted to get an education, and I wanted to play football. But in high school, it's really hard to lead a team that not everybody wants to do the same thing you're doing. So I had to figure out ways to get people involved, maybe not in the way they wanted to, but make it fun so we could succeed in our season. So we did fundraisers, organized fundraisers, so everybody could come out, enjoy the sun, help people, do community service, but also just make the football team better and to help us win as a team. It's a team effort. And when I say team effort, I mean everybody has to be invested. Everybody has to be on board. So when I think of leadership, I think of you have to think of all the possibilities and all the scenarios that go into being a leader. So being a leader is you have to understand the personal identities, the social identities, and the cultural identities. Social identities are the components of self that are divided from involvement in social groups with each impersonal committed. When I think of that, I think of like gender. I think of how are we going to lead these group of males or these group of females to do the same thing. Obviously, men and female, they have different views about things. So we need to meet in the middle, maybe come with an understanding of how to run things and how to get the most out of every opportunity. Cultural identities are based on socially constructed categories that teach us the way of being, included expectations. When I think of cultural identities, I think of different racial ethnicities. So like blacks, Mexicans, and like whites. Those definitely are the biggest culturally driven based in America. And when you're leading, you have to think of what these people have gone through during their whole life. Doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. But the biggest percentage of wealthy is whites, and the biggest percentage in poverty is blacks and Hispanics. So when you lead a group and that has different polarizing truths that go back and forth against each other, you have to meet in the middle and understand that these people came from different scenarios and these people grew up different. Everybody grows up different. Everybody experiences different things. You just have to understand that one way you might do it might affect a certain group of people, and the other way might affect another group of people. And so personal identities, social identities, and cultural identities were definitely the biggest, what you could say, stand out to me when I was doing this project. I definitely related to a lot of what this book was saying and what these identities are and who they are and how it affects leadership and how to join together to get things done in a manner that is good. One thing I wanted to point out was our government today. Our government is very polarized, very post-truth era, obviously. And we need to think about the stuff the internet is putting on, fake news, and how we perceive the fake news and how we ingest it.